Hey VC, Crazy Jimmy here. It's a Friday, I want to say morning still here. So first of all, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. Appreciate you guys. Today I got something special. Today I got some Brazilian Psych. Yes, Brazilian Psych. I know this is a genre and a group of albums that I kind of got passionate about a while back, especially Mutantes, but there's other bands besides them that I'm going to show today. But these are all pretty much originals. I want to show you, and it's really. Bottom line is the lyrics are all sung in Portuguese for the most part. I think there's maybe one track on a Mutantes album that has some English lyrics, but it's all like Portuguese, and so I don't really understand what's going on. I don't speak Portuguese, but it really doesn't matter. It's all about the music for me. Do I listen to lyrics? Of course, I like lyrics, but and I like a good story. But when it comes to these albums I'm going to show you and these particular bands, it's all about the music. So let me just start where it kind of all began. You got your Georgie Benz and you've got your Cactano Velosos right there. So absolutely love this album cover. A lot of these original Brazilian pressings too were like these very fragile sandwich style sleeves, which I'm going to show you here. So this is Cactano Veloso. I hope I'm saying that right. But here is let me just pull everything out. It's kind of a sandwich, super fragile. So you have here, see how it opens, sandwich style. So it's kind of blank in there, but you've got the a little stamp there. It's an original. It's not like a bootleg. And God, I love that cover. Just such a cool cover. You got him right there in the center and enveloped by a cartoon mermaid. And what's that? Like a sea dragon or something, like a dragon. And then here's the back. Really, really cool. Super fragile. These are very fragile. This is on Philips. This is a really amazing conditioned original of this. Typically, these things, you find them and they're completely beat up. They're written on, they're ripped, they're re-glued, they're taped. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen with tape all over them, because what happens is they didn't really paste down the slick. So you can see the slick kind of opens up, and it's glued at the spine area, the backing. So again, the slick here, kind of. So just to have this in this kind of condition is just phenomenal, and you can see inside here. It's pretty cool. Written. There's someone like it looks like this was dedicated to someone. It's got their name really neatly written. 1969. So just cool little artifact, and to have that in there doesn't really bother me. It's on the inside, but just beautiful. And then here's the vinyl label. Now this is Tropicallia at its finest. It was the movement of the time in Brazil, very political. So these bands, and by the way, this is in beautiful condition. This is definitely a VG++. Near mint minus. Never seen this in this kind of condition. I got kind of lucky landing this. But this is 1968, by the way. This is a mono, an original Brazilian mono. But just a little quick history, a quick hitter on this. The Tropicallia movement. Brazil was very the politics in Brazil was very against. A lot of things, and certainly against this kind of music for sure, in the lyrics. So they kind of, this movement really was started by Georgie Ben and this fellow here, Veloso, to get their message across with lyric and music in a subtle way. But the music isn't so subtle. It's this is a little more on the folkier side, but there's still some acid psych in here. It's more acid psych folk. Unlike Mutantes, which was certainly more acid than anything, acid psych. But this is where it kind of started with Cactano, Veloso. So I wanted to get that one going first. Next, of course, we talked about Mutantes. And, here's an original Brazilian mono of their first album entitled OS Mutantes. So the mutants, I think the OS is the. So you got the mutants, and there's the mono there, the mono label. And then, of course, I got a couple of the same press because I'm trying to weed down my collection. I used to have 3 of these things, and now I got 2, and I'm gonna eventually sell one. So I only have 1. I don't need 3, and I certainly don't need 2. But God, I love this cover. I mean, you've got one of the brothers kind of hovering over his other brother there, and I think her last name is her name's Rita Lee. So it was the 3 of them, and man, this is just such a great album. The variety on this is fantastic. If you're a Beatles fan, you're gonna love this, especially Magical Mystery Tour, Sgt. Pepper era Beatles. There's a lot to like on this. Of course, there's Tropicallia thrown in there for good measure. It's not a Beatles ripoff. It's Brazilian style, but it's definitely done in a British invasion way. So if that makes sense. And the replay value on this is just, it's through the roof. I can play this. I've played this already. I've listened to this album 100 times or more, and I never get sick of it because there's so much to hear. These guys really, they played some crazy instruments. They rewired some instruments and played them, and they got these sounds that just will blow your mind. There's a tremolo guitar sound, but it doesn't really sound like a guitar. It's just this wacky sound. I guess it's a sewing machine or something. They took a sewing machine motor and refashioned it, and just some of the things that the producer of this album did, along with the brothers, to create just unique sounds and unique handmade instruments, and then jammed out with those instruments on this album. Just unbelievable. 1968 too. So, they were doing some things back then that others were not with instruments. So that's really cool. And then their second album, 1969, which is actually probably my favorite from them, is Mutantes 1969. So there you go. It's got them a shot of them playing live. Again, Brazilian mono. It's got a little paper clipping there. That's pretty cool. So I left it in there. This is another. These are sandwich style, just like what I showed you with the Veloso. They open up like a sandwich and very fragile. So it's not easy to find a sleeve in this condition for any of these. So really do your homework if you're looking online, especially if you're buying one from Brazil. Make sure they send you detailed pictures and sound clips if you're buying from Brazil. This is no knock on sellers in Brazil. I'm not saying that none of them know how to grade, but I've had issues with grading from sellers in Brazil. So I'm just going to put that out there. Now, have I bought a ton of albums from Brazilian sellers? No, I haven't. There's probably people that are watching this that have bought hundreds of albums or even are from Brazil and have bought hundreds of albums in that country and have never had a problem. I've had problems. So I'm just saying that. Even after pictures were sent, I've had problems. So mostly not with the sleeves, but mostly with the vinyl. A lot of overgrading going on there with the vinyl. Maybe it's just the standards. I'm not sure. But That's 1969, which is my favorite Mutantes. Again, very beatly, but very unique, very acid. And then the third is a Divina Commedia, Divine Comedy, basically. And this is their third and really final album that I got from them, because after this, they got really proggy. And I'm not really into their proggy stuff. I'm more into their Psych, their British Invasion Psych sound, mixed with Tropicallia. And this one is no exception. Another great album. I know Dom from Seeking a Thread had this in his top 100, but he said any three of these could have been in his top 100, and I 100% agree. So this would be in my top 100 Psych albums of all time as well. So would the other two. I would have all three in there. But again, a Brazilian mono. And this is also this is fantastic. 1970, by the way, on that one. Next, a band that some of you may not know, but are fantastic. This is a little more poppy, but again, part of the Tropicallia movement. This is Novos Baianos. And this here is on the Som Livre label. This is an original. I think this was 70. I want to say this was 72 or 73. Let me show you. This has got a pretty cool. It's got a pretty cool sleeve. This is not a sand. This is a gatefold, but it's laminated. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a waxy lamination, and it opens up, and there's actually a booklet inside that's glued in. So you can see there, and it's kind of glued in there. So there's some pages here. So a lot of times you'll find this and it's pretty beat up, or the insert is not glued in anymore, and it's ripped out. But here's some really cool shots there. But this is just I believe this one album of the year back then. That's how good this is. Every single song in this is hooky. I want to say this is more psych pop, and folk pop, but just phenomenal. Tropicallia, Brazilian music, very hooky, and the hooks and the melodies are very American to me, mixed with like British. This is and then Tropicallia, the Tropicallia movement from Brazil. So kind of all combined. So when I'm showing you these and you're thinking, oh, this is just going to be samba music. Well, yeah, there's some samba beats in here, but it's very poppy. This one here is super catchy, and for good reason. This one best album for good reason. So there's that, and then the other album I have from them is FC. And this one, for some reason, is a lot harder to get than the one I just showed you. But it's equally as good. It's not on the same label. It's on Continental label. But FC is in soccer, football club, and there's an hour-long documentary online on this album, by the way, like them playing live on YouTube. So really, really pretty neat. I watched the documentary twice now. I don't even know if it's a documentary. It's more of just them noodling around and playing live, playing a lot of these songs. So, and boy, there's some good songs on this. I'll tell you, there's some really good songs on this. So don't sleep on this one. This was 1974, I want to say. Doesn't say there, but don't sleep on that one either. Novos Baianos. Next up, I want to show you this one here, which is not easy to come by. This is Karma, and really cool cover. Look at that triple neck guitar. That thing is fantastic, isn't it? This is a promo, not for sale up there. I know it's kind of, this one's really hard to find in decent condition. I was lucky enough to get one that plays really nice and quiet. There's one jump on this, but it's okay. Just to own this is a dream come true. The harmonies on this are so creamy. Your eyes will be rolling back in your head as you listen to this. It's just so, Like, think about Sun King from the Beatles, those type of harmonies, or Our Prayer from Smile, the Beach Boys, Our Prayer, those type of harmonies, but throughout, so good. And the melodies are so good on this. Again, Brazilian acid folk. This is Brazilian acid folk, and it's fantastic. I want to say this was like 1971 or 72 on the RCA label. So the band is Karma. Take a listen to this online. It's gonna blow you away. It'll remind you of like Because from the Beatles, Sun King mixed with some Floyd, early Floyd, mixed with oh God, it was just in my head. Acoustic Led Zeppelin, side 2 of Led Zeppelin 3. So you kind of throw all that in a blender. Zeppelin 3, side 2, the acoustic side, Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd style, and Sun King, Because, Our Prayer style harmonies from the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and bam, you've got Karma. Just a phenomenal album, Brazilian album. Next up is the Brazilian Frank Zappa. Yet I don't think he's as weird, but Tom Zay, or Z, probably Zay, and how do you pronounce this? Todos Solos is this album. This is my favorite from Z, from 1973 on Continental. Another original, laminated sleeve. This is, by the way, there's been some controversy. People thinking this is, a marble in a, what? It's not. That is a mouth. That is a mouth. It's been confirmed by the photographer that this is not an anus. It's a mouth. So it's a marble in a mouth. I just want to get that out there. But it's still... the idea was to make it look like it wasn't, to make it look like it was more vulgar than it is. So, but Tom Zay, really crazy album, lots of hooks, great mix of acid, psych, samba style hooks, but throw in Zappa style instruments and Zappa style turns and twists. And, crazy. Like, there's a sewing machine on this. There's, like, homemade instruments on this. God, what, not a chainsaw. Just, he uses, like, regular household appliances around the house to get some of the sounds on this. So, this blew my mind. So, check it out. And then, of course... I love Tom Zay, so I had to pick up his other, what were considered his other best albums. Now that one's considered his best, but this is before that, 1972, his self-titled, which is also fantastic. This is an original, very good, but not as adventurous as the one I just showed you. And then this is widely considered his most popular one as far as like pop hooks and commercialism. But again, acid folk with lots of samba, hooks, and beats. And this one's from 75 or 76, I want to say. Continental Records. This is called Samba by Tom Zay. But again, this is not your traditional samba. You're going to put these on and go, oh, whoa, this is pretty far out there, acid folk. So, pretty good shit. Excuse my French. Got a couple more for you. This one here is great Brazilian female vocalist, Nara. Love this cover, by the way. What a beautiful shot of her side profile. But this is really good, loungy style Tropicallia from Brazil. Definitely got some Psych going on here. I would call it Psych Lounge. And her vocals are just phenomenal. Right up there with Rita Lee's. So, again, Phillips. So check that out. And then one I forgot to pull. So I'm going to get Azimuth. This is also on the Somme Livre. But this is a self-titled. I want to say it's 75 or 74. Best way I can describe this. Recommended if you like super furry animals, but there's obviously some more Latin rhythm in here. But there's a couple tracks, especially the first one on this, that is so super furry animals. It's not even funny. Obviously, this album was released well before the super furry animals were probably like 10 years old when this album came out. So, but they clearly heard this music and, ate that up. But another just phenomenal Brazilian album outside of the Tropicallia movement, yes, but super cool. A lot of it's definitely loungy, but there's also some psych pop on this as well, and it's really that good that you want to seek this out. So check this out as well. Some cool vocals on here. I think there's even some vocals in English on this one, but mostly again Portuguese. But anyways, listen, thanks for watching. Hopefully, you guys go check some of these samples out and really, dig into these like I did. I do have a few others hanging around here, which I was unable to find. I don't know why. Everything's in alpha order, but I got a couple Gal Costas too that I would recommend you checking out. And there's certainly so much more than what I showed you with the Tropicallia movement. But this is a really good start, and I think this is really where you should start. So have at it, check it out. Certainly comment. Let me know what you think of these bands and some of these albums as well. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys.